we'll move on to Damien Keys, who is, oh, now I can't remember the title he gave himself, Chief Poobah, Chief Sucker it was, for Oryx Gold, Pelican Resources, soon to be Sunshine. He's going to explain it all to us. They're a newcomer on the block, lots of exciting projects to hear about, and so please tell us the story, Damien.
No worries. Yeah, I'll fire up the presentation for a start. Let's see if this works. Okay, is that displaying well?
Yep, that's fine.
Excellent. So, yeah, I guess this is as early as you get in terms of talking about your project. We're still in the throes of listing. So, yeah, it will be far less technical than Stuart's amazing geology presentation it's just been. So, yeah, we are essentially Queensland's newest gold explorer and have started life with the name 4X Gold. Yeah, an iconic drink and then hopefully an iconic gold company to go with it. I guess the process we're involved in at this point right now is a transfer from 4X. We're vending into Shell, Pelican Resources, and we're soon to relist as Sunshine Gold. So from now on, I'll show the Sunshine Gold logo and we'll try and get that across. For a bit of background on where we are and who we are, 4X Gold was formed last year by myself, Paul Chapman, Les Davis and Dave Bosio from Western Australia. And the aim was to establish a new Queensland-centric gold copper exploration company. We shortlisted half a dozen projects and happy to say that we've managed to acquire our top listed projects. So we've picked up the Investigator copper project first. We've pegged some ground up in the Mount Isa block. We've purchased the Triumph Gold project in July and recently just pegged and acquired the Hodgkinson Gold project, which is up between Mount Carbine and Watershed. We're currently, we've just had the Pelican Resources AGM on Monday, where the shareholders voted through unanimously the deal. And I guess the next part of that process is an underwritten entitlement issue, capital raising. It all goes unconditional on the 24th of November, and we begin trading on the ASX at this point, December 4. A snapshot of what it's going to look like when we get to the corporate world in December 4. Will be SHN, start trading at 2 cents with a market cap of about 9 million and about 5.3 million in the bank. And an experienced board who've been there and done it before. Like I said, we've picked up 2 exciting gold projects. Our acquisition drivers we were looking for near surface, high grade potential, big system potential, underexplored or unloved, and near to existing mining hub workforces and infrastructure. So a significantly different approach to the one that Stuart just described. We've got an experienced, successful management group. We're also North Queensland based, so I'm sitting in my very bare Townsville office at this point, but we are ready to hit the ground running, and I'll show you some of the activities we're going to get up to. Our project locations, so the Hodgkinson, or the Triumph Gold Project is south of Gladstone. We're sitting in and around large-scale deposits, Mount Morgan, Krakow, Mount Rawdon. We've got 2 granted EPMs down there. The Hodgkinson project is about 100 kilometres west-northwest of Cairns. It sits between the historic Hodgkinson goldfield and the Palmer River alluvial field. We've got a substantial land holding up there, and we believe it's got huge potential for gold, and it's been heavily explored for tungsten in the past. And the Investigator copper project, which is a pet project of mine up in the Mount Isa inlier, the Western Succession. So our first 6 months look like this, and it's an absolute hive of activity at the moment. We've got, as Helen alluded to, I'm dealing with lawyers, farmers, drillers, and everyone in between. But it's already started out a lot of fun. We've got a mag survey about to kick off, RC drilling about to kick off, and some field mapping about to kick off, all pre-list. And the idea is to try and beat the wet season, have some news flow through the December-January period. So we are that early that we haven't got a decent corporate design at the moment. So apologies for the one I've stolen from PowerPoint itself. The Hodgkinson Gold Project itself sits just off the Mulligan Highway, runs through here, which is the road that links the tablelands to Cooktown and up to the Gulf. We've got 2 separate blocks occupying what we consider a large northwest oriented fault zone. We think it's an expression of a deep crustal feature. The Hodgkinson project labelled was largely owned by Tungsten Mining, and we've acquired that, as well as pegging separate bits of ground that we believe will be prospective up towards Campbell Creek, so the western block. Already defined and mapped multiple shallow high-grade gold vein systems. They're outcropping, they've been rock chip sampled, and there has been some work done on it. We know we're in a heavily endowed tungsten area, but the area is also rich in copper, tin and antimony. Zooming into a bit of geology and our leases granted down the southern area and one still in application. They occupy a substantial position along the regional Tulla and Baker's Blue faults, where our leases and our main project focus is adjacent to granites of the Waipala supersuite, which have been inferred by authors such as Davis to be sin gold mineralisation elsewhere in up in the Hodgkinson province. The area, we know we've got potential for skarn type systems, epithermal textures have been mapped, so we're pretty buoyant about the prospect as a whole. And of course, we're sitting between 2 large tungsten deposits, so the Mount Carbine tungsten mine, which Damien will talk about later on, and the Watershed tungsten deposit, which we have left with tungsten mining. If we, just before we go on, our main focus areas to start with will be Elephant Creek and Peninsula, and we'll talk about what we're up to in and around that area. So Elephant Creek, this is a very zoomed in image. It shows just the ivory and the and the very poorly named dung vein. The dung vein has got 4 RC holes which arguably don't intersect the likely vein system. The vein system itself was rock chip sampled, rock chips going up to 40 grams a tonne, and a string of 7 contiguous hits going plus half a gram. The average hole depth in the area is 43 metres. There are substantial hits all over the place. Our focus areas are going to be on the Ivory South, where we believe we have a shear zone manifesting that large west-northwest orientation. And we're getting intersections there of 14 at 2.5, 13 at 3, and another 14 at 2.5. In that west-northwest orientation, it's not adequately tested. So we'll be going in and doing some drilling around there. Obviously coming back and trying to tighten up drilling that includes 8 metres at 13.5 and 4 at 14.5 on Ivory North. And we'll be doing some step-off drilling to test the dung vein itself. For Peninsula was a copper gossan poking its head out of the ground. So unsurprisingly, amazing copper grab samples. But what was encouraging was the 8.7 gram rock chip sample and cobalt going up to 455 ppm. There's only been 2 very shallow RC holes drilled, intersected minor copper and low-grade gold, but we'll be certainly doing some mapping, step-out drilling, and trying to characterise the prospect itself. We've got, at the moment, the mag data set over the region is 400 metre spaced mag data. We're flying air mag in the next week and a half. We're starting that, and we'll be tightening it to 100 metres spaced. We'd love to have got tighter than that, but given the topography in the area, 100 metres is a good starting point, and we'll use that data to refine our targeting and work out what we narrow down on and obtain more detailed ground mag or drone mag afterwards. We'll be doing a pretty comprehensive mapping campaign down between, basically from the Mount Carbine side through Elephant Creek. And RC drill, we've got 4,000 metres of RC hammering Ivory North, Ivory South, the dung vein, and the Peninsula gossan. So that's our first work, and the idea is we're drilling pre-list, but the idea is to try and beat the wet season and have some news flow throughout. Triumph Gold Project. So the Triumph Gold Project was purchased from Metal Bank. So I apologise to Trevor in advance. It was his baby for quite a while. Yeah, it sits on the edge of the Wandilla province, on the Wandilla-Yarrell province boundary. Obviously a fairly significant place to be on the edge of these province boundaries. It's the project itself. The mineralised area is hosted by the Norton tonalite at the moment, and it's localised around a large northwest trending fault zone, the Norton Shear. The tonalite's intruded into the sediments of the Wandilla Formation, and we've got multiple intrusions and relationships within the larger tonalite body. As it stands, the loads are evident in the mag as mag lows and mag breaks. The area is covered by a thin veneer of sediment. It's all locally derived, which has obscured the veins and mineralisation beneath in much of the area. historic Norton goldfield is excised from our EPMs, but had produced about 20,000 ounces through the early 1900s. To date, there's been about $6 million worth of quality drilling, very good quality geochem and geophysical data sets collected, and we hope to expand on those data sets. And the previous owners have had substantial exploration success at shallow grades, albeit narrow vein at this point. In its simplest form, a picture of the mag underneath, with the mag as it stands on the left and the Norton fault evident in those magnetics as being the large break. What we can see is localised on these mag lows, or relative mag lows, the main gold occurrences as it stands at the moment. And a simple translation, putting the tonalite back together across that Norton fault gives us an anomalous gold bearing zone of over 6 kilometres in strike. We can also see a deep centred mag low in the middle of the area, and there's some speculation that's from a monzonite gold bearing source or potential source, and we've got the historic Norton ML sitting immediately adjacent. So the idea, our very early idea, is a structural review of the area with a view to overlaying the geochem and geophysical data sets to assist in targeting. So there's some cracking numbers. Bald Hill is probably the most extensively drilled of the prospects to date and has hits such as 12 at 13.5 from 9 metres depth. It expresses as a low topographic rise, and there's a thought at the moment that we believe there's 2 to 3 stacked lodes through that area. So we will be extending drilling on Bald Hill to about 600 metres across. We've got targets such as Bonneville. It's an early stage target, rock chips collected up to 255 grams a tonne, and very limited drilling to this point. The offset position of Bald Hill is down to Super Hans. Super Hans has numbers like 2 at 7.57, very near surface, in a broader zone of 22 at 1. Again, off the back of that mag low and that interp, we'd push the gold bearing structure Super Hans across to Big Hans, and we're getting into the area of 17 at 4.3 from surface. So we'll be doing work along that whole strike extent there, and then moving into a zone called New Constitution, where the highest grade hit in the field is 10 metres at 27. And we know from our discussions with the owners of the Norton mining lease that a lot of the gold in the Norton mining lease is hosted in broadly east-west structure. And we believe that Brigham Young, a shear zone coming across east-west striking, we believe that intersection with New Constitution is very close, and the northern side of that intersection hasn't been drilled to this point. So we've basically got a huge amount of RC drilling to do here early in the new year, and we'll be hoping the La Nina event is affecting further north and greening my Townsville lawn and allowing us access to drill. We'll have a look at Investigator, a very brief look. It's an area I mapped in my PhD, and an area I've been trying to get my hands on since. We've pegged 2 large EPMs, one that covers part of the Mount Gordon Fault Zone itself, the sediments of the Mount Gordon Fault Zone, and another EPM which picks up a lot of the quartzites and volcanics out to the east of the Mount Gordon Fault Zone. It's in similar stratigraphic and structural setting as the Mount Gordon copper mine, which is 12 kilometres to the north. Again, accessed easily via the Gunpowder Road, bitumen access, and mapping in that area has revealed large fluorite hematite bearing quartz breccias. So we're super excited, and our plan for up here is an EM survey in the June 21 quarter. So that's my super brief presentation. I'll apologise in advance. We are pre-list, and I'd be more than happy to come back mid next year and fill you in on our progress at that point. But yeah, we're really excited about the potential of the projects, and looking forward to getting stuck in. So at this point, there's a contact email there that's different from our prospectus, and but yeah, keep an eye out for Sunshine Gold in early December.
Fantastic, thank you, Damien. I think that the intercepts at the Triumph project are awesome. I can't believe Trevor let that one go.
Yeah, yeah, we're pretty happy and pretty excited about the potential, and the footprint of the whole camp is, you know, we're looking at kilometres of footprint there. So yeah.
I love the reconstruction too. That really sort of, it just made so much sense once you had that image there and the trend across the mag low.
Yeah, yeah, no, and not even any scaling for size. It was a very simple cut and paste exercise. So
are there similar trends in say surface geochemistry that you can pick up that up in that way as well?
Sub-parallel to the Norton Fault. So Big Hans is actually a northwest oriented lobe. So we have a network of northwest and west-northwest oriented lobes. We believe that it's all fairly close to mineralisation movement on both. So yeah, it's pretty exciting stuff.
Now we do have a question in the Q&A, and it's the most important one, of course. How much is the IPO raise?
Yeah. So we're actually we've got the raises underwritten. There's a large entitlement offer to the long-standing Pelican holders who've been kept on the sidelines for a while. So 1.2 million of the 2 million raises through that, and the other 750s has pretty well been covered off already. People clambering on. So I'm afraid you have to wait until December 4, and hopefully you can jump on at 2 cents.
There we go. Richard Blewett has a question. He says, hi, thanks for the talk. Given the shallow depths and scattered outcrop in your areas, have you considered looking at remote sensing like ASTA for mapping alteration?
Yep, absolutely. And we're looking at integrating that with, again, with the mapping and structural work. So the ASTA on its own is a fantastic data set, but far more useful when we can relate it to the lithologies and structural data that we collect as well. So yeah, it's well and truly on the cards. Thanks, Richard.
And Rick has a question too.
Yeah, I've got one. It's I'm going to bring up your. It's not a checkered past. I'm going to bring up your past, Damien. So I know that a couple of things I know about you. One is that you developed this really, quite impressive system for target generation and ranking and then in your PhD, I know that you actually did geomechanical modeling for targeting, including in the gunpowder region. And so my question is, did your did either of those sort of systems or you know, capabilities factor in the selection of targets for you know, for this portfolio of projects? And you know, yeah.
Oh, yep. Well, during the shortlisting period, I guess, so we've approached this as we want to go and start digging holes. We want to find something that we can get our teeth into. So again, it's that different approach to Stuart and those guys, both equally valid processes. So yeah, we've looked at the back of the envelope economics of the projects from an early perspective, and we believe we've got you know, the makings of good cash generating projects, despite maybe not necessarily starting at those large ounce resource from that large ounce resource base. In terms of the geomechanical stuff, clearly I've got a chapter of my the world's biggest bloody bookend in my bookshelf that I've had to open again for the first time in about 10 years. But I've always thoroughly been fascinated by that Investigator area, and yeah, just itching to get up there and drill some holes. There's some fascinating rocks on the ground. There's predictability in the areas that should break and that have broken. So yeah, and there's no reason why the geomechanical approach won't be used on other prospects nearer the coast, particularly the Hodgkinson's a pretty good candidate for it.
Well, also the I think the Triumph project too. If you've got detailed enough mag, you could, you know, build a really
build that
detailed structural model. And
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, no,
I believe the GSQ hasn't flown 100-meter mag in that area.
Oh no, I can't either. So so no, it's yeah, it's good. We'll be, I guess we're so early that it's just collecting the data to complement the existing data. So doing the mapping, collecting the further multi-element data up north, and just finding enough layers to overlay to start making more sense of the regional picture.